You wake up, and the first thing you do is check your phone. Emails, messages, social media. The day has just started, but your mind is racing, your energy is drained, and you haven't even begun to work. It feels like every day is a battle. The world demands more of your time, your focus, your energy, but you've got big goals. You want to be successful, you want to create something meaningful, and you want to live a life that's not just busy, but purposeful. But here's the problem. The more you try to do, the more you end up doing everything and nothing at all. Now, what if I told you there was a way to take control of all the noise? A way to focus on the things that truly matter, to stop reacting to chaos around you, and instead, create a life that is simple, intentional, and successful? This is exactly what Darius Foroux's book Focus on What Matters teaches us. In it, he reveals how simplicity, discipline, and focused action can lead to profound success. He challenges us to stop being distracted by everything, and instead, to direct our energy toward what will actually change our lives. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you how to cut through the noise, prioritize what's important, and build habits that turn your dreams into reality, just like the successful people who've mastered this art. In his book, Focus on What Matters, Darius Foroux introduces a powerful and timely message. In today's hyperconnected world, the biggest threat to our personal growth and fulfillment isn't lack of time or resources. It's distraction. We live in what he calls the age of distraction, where attention is a new currency, and most people are going bankrupt without realizing it. When our focus is scattered, we lose sight of what we genuinely care about. The quality of our life is directly tied to the quality of our focus. If we're constantly chasing what everyone else is doing or thinking, we never give ourselves the time or space to figure out what really matters to us. Being busy, he argues, is often just another form of avoidance, an excuse to delay the uncomfortable but necessary work of introspection. The more tasks we pile onto our schedules, the less we actually confront the bigger questions in life. What do I want? Why am I doing this? What truly brings me joy and meaning? We must first recognize how much of our mental energy is being spent on things that do not matter. Awareness is a first step toward change. Take responsibility for your focus. Foroux doesn't offer quick hacks or tricks. Instead, he challenges readers to confront the uncomfortable truth that most of us are wasting our attention on things that have little to no value in the long run. By shifting our mindset from doing more to focusing on what matters most, we open the door to a simpler, more purpose-driven life. This lays a philosophical and emotional groundwork, inviting readers to begin their own journey of intentional living, not through dramatic overhauls, but through consistent, mindful choices about where their energy goes. Foroux begins by pointing out a harsh truth. Most people go through life without a clear understanding of what they actually want. They follow social norms, pursue careers or goals based on external expectations, and measure success by conventional standards like wealth, status, or popularity. As a result, they feel stuck, overwhelmed, or constantly dissatisfied, even when they appear to be doing well on the surface. Foroux presents clarity as a kind of superpower, something that cuts through confusion and noise like a compass guiding you through a fog. But this kind of clarity doesn't come passively. It must be earned through self-reflection and deep questioning. He encourages readers to ask themselves bold, honest questions. What does a successful life look like to me? What do I truly value? What do I want to experience more of? According to Foroux, these questions are uncomfortable because they strip away all the distractions we hide behind. Yet answering them is essential if we want to take control of our time, attention, and energy. Without this level of introspection, we risk spending years climbing the wrong ladder, only to find that it was leaning against the wrong wall. It emphasizes that clarity simplifies everything. When you know what matters to you, decision-making becomes easier. You can say no without guilt, set boundaries without hesitation, and pursue goals without constantly second-guessing yourself. Eliminate the unnecessary. The path to focus begins with subtraction, one of the most transformative principles of the focused life. Doing less. The idea that clarity and productivity are not achieved by constantly adding more to our lives, more goals, more tasks, more commitments, but by eliminating what's unnecessary. Most people are overwhelmed not because they lack time or resources, but because they refuse to let go of things that no longer serve them. To reframe their mindset. Instead of asking what more can I do, They should ask, what can I remove? Forrest begins by dismantling the modern obsession with maximization. He explains how the culture of constant optimization, trying to squeeze every second out of your day, cram more into your schedule, and pursue multiple goals at once, ultimately leads to diminishing returns. The more you try to juggle, the less you actually accomplish, and more importantly, the less meaning you extract from your actions. He likens this to hoarding mental clutter. Just as a cluttered room leads to a chaotic mind, a cluttered life leads to mental fog and emotional exhaustion. The solution, he says, is radical prioritization, letting go of the good to make room for the great. One of the strongest concepts is the idea that focus is an act of exclusion. To focus on something is to consciously not focus on 100 other things. True focus isn't just about what you give your energy to. It's about what you protect your energy from. Forrest challenges readers to do an attention audit, a brutally honest evaluation of where their time and energy go each day. He prompts them to ask, which tasks drain me? Which commitments feel like obligations rather than choices? What am I doing just to maintain appearances or avoid discomfort? He points out that many people stay stuck in cycles of unnecessary busyness because they are afraid of silent space or facing the deeper questions of life. Letting go requires courage, not just the courage to say no to others, but to say no to our own impulses, insecurities, and habits of avoidance. He encourages readers to remove toxic relationships, unaligned ambitions, and digital noise that eats away at their attention. He shares how reducing his social media use and unsubscribing from unnecessary inputs gave him back control over his mind and helped him reconnect with his deeper goals. Adopt a minimalist approach to life and work, showing that high achievers often succeed not because of how much they do, but because of what they refuse to do. After helping readers understand the importance of clarity and the power of subtraction, he now dives into what holds it all together: consistency. Forrest argues that without discipline, even the clearest intentions and the best-laid plans will crumble. Focus is not something that happens once. It's something you practice daily. And like any skill, it requires repetition, routine, and resilience. Discipline is what allows people to show up even when they don't feel like it. Forrest shares his own experiences of struggling to write or work when he wasn't feeling it, and how he used to wait for bursts of inspiration that rarely came. Over time, he realized that progress came not from intense moments of brilliance, but from steady, deliberate effort, day in and day out. This insight leads him to distinguish between intensity and consistency. Many people, he explains, approach self-improvement or productivity in bursts. They get excited, create ambitious plans, overhaul their routines, and go all in for a short while, only to burn out and revert to old patterns. What truly matters isn't how intensely you work on something, but how consistently you return to it. Whether it's writing, exercising, learning a skill, or pursuing a personal goal, those who succeed are not the most passionate. They are the most persistent. Forrest then introduces the idea of building systems and routines as a way to automate discipline. By creating simple, repeatable systems, you remove friction from your day and free up mental bandwidth for what truly matters. Everyone slips. Everyone gets distracted. Everyone has off days. But what sets focused individuals apart is their ability to return to their priorities without self-judgment. Forrest warns against the trap of all-or-nothing thinking, where missing one day causes people to give up entirely. Instead, he advocates for what he calls a return mindset, the ability to gently but firmly bring yourself back to your values, your goals, and your path again and again. This is the quiet strength of discipline, not the absence of failure, but the resilience to keep going in spite of it. Being disciplined is ultimately about keeping promises to yourself. Discipline is not punishment. It's a form of self-respect. It says, I care enough about my future to act accordingly today. By choosing consistency over intensity, readers are invited to shift from chasing quick wins to building a sustainable, focused existence, one that stays aligned with what truly matters, no matter the circumstances. Darius Foroux shifts the spotlight to one of the most undervalued and fiercely contested resources of our time: attention. He argues that in today's digital economy, attention has more value than money or time, because where your attention goes, your energy, actions, and ultimately your life follows. Your attention is your life, and if you don't protect it, someone else will capture it and profit from it. Forrest begins by examining how attention works and why it's so fragile in the modern world. With smartphones, social media, 24/7 news cycles, and endless streams of entertainment, we are constantly pulled in 1,000 directions. He likens it to a leaky faucet, dripping energy, focus, and clarity one notification at a time. The problem, he explains, is not just the distractions themselves, but the way they fragment our thinking and keep us in a shallow state of mind. When our attention is scattered, we can't do deep work. We can't think critically, reflect meaningfully, or make thoughtful decisions. And without deep focus, we lose the ability to create lasting value or experience fulfillment. Foroux presents a compelling argument that the modern world is engineered to steal our attention. Social media apps, video platforms, and even productivity tools are designed with addictive loops, built not to help us, but to hook us. He doesn't demonize technology outright, but he stresses that these tools must be used intentionally, not passively. Otherwise, they end up using us. Attention is not infinite. It's a limited, depletable resource. Each day, we wake up with a finite amount of mental energy, and every small interruption chips away at it. The cognitive cost of task switching and how seemingly harmless distractions, like a quick scroll or a text message, can derail your focus for far longer than the interruption itself. He encourages readers to treat attention like money. Track where it goes, invest it wisely, and stop spending on things that give you no return. To help readers reclaim their attention, Foroux offers several practical mental models and principles. He emphasizes the importance of digital boundaries, clear rules around device usage, screen time, and media consumption. Adopting a minimalist approach to apps, notifications, and information intake has helped him stay mentally sharp and emotionally grounded. The idea of creating attention rituals, such as setting aside distraction-free blocks of time for deep work or single tasking. Attention reflects values. Where you direct your attention is where your priorities live, regardless of what you say is important to you. If you claim to value health but spend hours scrolling through feeds instead of moving your body, your attention tells the truth. Darius Foroux presents one of the most paradoxical yet powerful ideas in the book. True freedom comes not from doing more, but from focusing on less. The modern definition of freedom, having limitless options, the ability to do anything at any time, is, in Forouz's eyes, an illusion. He argues that when we lack focus, we are not truly free. We are slaves to our impulses, distractions, and a sense of constant busyness. Real freedom, he says, is found in structure, in constraint, and in the discipline to choose what not to do. Without some form of self-imposed constraint, we fall into the trap of indecision, drifting through life reacting to whatever demands our attention in the moment. Instead of living freely, we end up constantly managing chaos, feeling overwhelmed and losing sight of our bigger goals. With focus came depth, and with depth came fulfillment. This shift taught him that constraints aren't restrictions. They're enablers. A major idea introduced in this chapter is that focus creates clarity, and clarity leads to power. When you're clear about what matters, decision-making becomes easier. You waste less time debating, switching paths, or second-guessing yourself. Foroux stresses that when you decide on your priorities and commit to them, you reduce anxiety and create more space in your mind for creativity and peace. The mental clutter vanishes because you're no longer torn between dozens of options. Constraints spark creativity. This is especially relevant in the digital world, where creators and professionals often assume that more tools, more time, or more freedom will lead to better outcomes. Foroux flips this idea by showing that limits, such as time blocks, daily word goals, or working with fewer resources, actually push us to be more resourceful and inventive. In his own writing practice, he uses time-based constraints to prevent perfectionism and procrastination. When he gives himself a limited window to write, he's forced to focus, and that pressure turns into productivity. The worry that focusing on one thing means giving up on other dreams. He acknowledges that letting go is hard, but reminds readers that saying yes to everything is, in reality, a disguised form of saying no to mastery, to growth, and to peace of mind. He encourages readers to embrace the fear of missing out, FOMO, as a signal that they're on the right path, that choosing to focus is a courageous act in a distracted world. It shows that freedom isn't found in endless choice. It's found in commitment. When we focus on what matters and impose healthy constraints, we create the conditions for deep work, true peace, and lasting joy. Darius Foroux tackles one of the most common complaints in modern life: I don't have enough time. He dismantles this belief with surgical precision, arguing that time is not the issue, focus is. The real problem isn't the number of hours in a day, it's how we're using those hours. Forrest's central premise is that when we say we lack time, we're often masking the fact that we lack clarity, discipline, and intentionality. How people waste time while convincing themselves they're being productive. A person with 5 focused hours can outperform someone with 12 distracted hours. Forrest addresses the myth of multitasking. He cites research that shows how switching tasks frequently can decrease efficiency and increase mental fatigue. He explains that each time you shift attention, your brain has to reset, which creates a cognitive tax. What might feel like getting more done is actually slowing you down. His solution is simple but powerful: single tasking. Do one thing at a time, do it well, then move on. Stop saying, I don't have time, and start asking, what am I prioritizing? It reveals far more about your life than the clock ever will. Every person has the same 24 hours. The difference lies in how they focus, how they protect their energy, and how ruthlessly they eliminate the non-essential. When you learn to protect your attention, say no to distractions, and concentrate on value over activity, you unlock the full power of the time you already have, rather than try to do more or manage better. Forrest suggests that the most powerful thing you can do to improve your life is to remove what doesn't matter. In a world obsessed with optimization and addition, this chapter is a refreshing reminder that subtraction is often a path to clarity, peace, and success. The more things you say yes to that don't serve you, the less capacity you have to say yes to the things that do. Fear of missing out, FOMO, fear of disappointing others, fear of change, and fear of uncertainty. These fears make people cling to unhelpful routines, relationships, or identities that no longer serve them. The next important lesson is complexity kills progress. Whether in business, personal goals, productivity, or decision-making, we often believe that more complicated solutions are better, more advanced, or more effective. But the truth is the path to success is through radical simplicity. People often overthink and overdesign their plans, systems, and routines. We add more tools, more steps, more information, thinking that complexity will give us control. But ironically, the more complicated things get, the harder they become to sustain, and the less likely we are to take action. Simplicity, he argues, reduces friction. And when friction goes down, action speeds up. Simplify first, optimize later. This is a powerful mindset shift. The reality that there are countless factors in life that we cannot control: other people's actions, the economy, weather, and even global events. Trying to control the uncontrollable only leads to frustration and stress. If you can't control the stock market's daily fluctuations, you can control your investing strategy. If you can't control other people's reactions, you can control how you respond to them. If you can't control the weather, you can control your attitude toward the day. Setbacks are inevitable in life, but they don't have to derail your progress. When facing challenges, it's critical to remain calm and focus on what you can do next rather than dwelling on what went wrong. One of the most essential skills for focusing on what matters, the art of saying no. While many people think that success comes from saying yes to more opportunities, tasks, and relationships, but the key to personal growth and sustained productivity is knowing when to say no. By learning to set boundaries and prioritize only the most important things, you can conserve your time, energy, and attention for what truly matters. Splitting your energy into 1,000 pieces. When you try to juggle too many things at once, none of them receive the full focus and commitment they deserve. This ultimately leads to mediocre results across the board. On the other hand, when you practice saying no, you can funnel your energy into fewer, more meaningful pursuits, which leads to deeper fulfillment and higher achievement. Setting boundaries with others means learning to say no when people ask for your time, energy, or resources in ways that conflict with your priorities. Many people fall into the trap of accepting every job offer, every promotion, or every additional responsibility, thinking it will help them advance. But the truth is, these extra commitments can often derail your focus and prevent you from excelling in areas that truly matter to your career growth. Learning to decline these opportunities strategically can help you stay focused on your long-term vision. When you say no, you're not rejecting anyone. You're just choosing to protect your time and energy. This perspective shift makes saying no feel less like a rejection and more like an act of self-care and self-respect. By mastering the art of saying no, you not only protect your time, but also make room for things that truly matter, ultimately leading to a more focused, productive, and fulfilling life. While the modern world often glorifies hustle and relentless work, the rest is not a luxury, but a necessity for high performance. Many people underestimate the power of taking time to recharge, often pushing themselves to the point of exhaustion. According to Foroux, true success comes not from continuous grind, but from knowing when to pause, reset, and allow the mind and body to recover. The idea of mental recovery, distinguishing it from physical rest. While physical rest involves sleep and relaxation, mental recovery requires stepping away from work-related stressors and allowing the brain to decompress. Constant mental stimulation, whether from work, technology, or information overload, can drain cognitive resources and make it harder to stay focused when you return to your tasks. This is why taking breaks throughout the day, whether through a walk, meditation, or simply doing something completely unrelated to work, is essential for maintaining mental sharpness. By working in focused, productive bursts, followed by intentional rest, individuals can achieve more in less time. This approach not only reduces burnout, but also leads to more innovative ideas and solutions when you return to work with a refreshed mind. The power of now. The present moment is the only time in which we have control, and by learning to focus on the present, we can enhance our mental clarity, productivity, and overall well-being. Both past and future concerns are distractions that pull us away from focusing on what's most important right now. Taking full responsibility for your life and circumstances as a key step toward achieving what matters most. Many people fall into the trap of blaming their lack of success, happiness, or fulfillment on things outside their control, such as their upbringing, their job, their relationships, or even society at large. This mentality creates a victim mindset, which limits personal growth and keeps individuals stuck in a cycle of inaction. When you view yourself as a victim, you relinquish control over your life and give up the ability to create meaningful change. To shift their perspective by embracing radical responsibility, taking full ownership of everything in your life, delves into the role of self-reflection and taking responsibility. Foroux advises readers to regularly reflect on their lives, choices, and goals. Self-reflection helps us identify areas where we may be avoiding responsibility or where we may have been letting external factors dictate our actions. By being honest with ourselves about our strengths, weaknesses, and mistakes, we can begin to make better decisions moving forward. This process of self-reflection not only leads to personal growth, but also increases self-awareness, which is crucial for taking ownership of our lives. Foroux also introduces the idea of simplifying decision-making. He suggests that instead of overthinking every decision, we should prioritize speed and clarity. By developing a simple decision-making framework, we can make choices more efficiently and confidently. This approach helps avoid the trap of perfectionism, which can paralyze us from taking action. The key to success is not making perfect decisions, but making good enough decisions quickly and learning from the results. Successful people don't rely on willpower alone. Instead, they've built habits that make success a natural part of their daily routines. Habits, according to Foroux, are actions that are performed automatically without much mental effort. When good habits become ingrained, they make the path to achieving goals easier and more efficient. The critical importance of taking action as the ultimate key to achieving success. No amount of planning, thinking, or strategizing will lead to meaningful results unless you take consistent and deliberate action toward your goals. Action is the bridge between intention and achievement, and without it, even the best plans remain nothing more than ideas. Many people spend so much time planning or analyzing that they never actually take the steps needed to move forward. While planning is important, Foroux stresses that it's the actual doing that makes the difference. He shares that successful people understand that they will never have perfect conditions, but they take action anyway, learning and adapting as they go. You don't have to take massive leaps toward your goal right away. Instead, it's better to take small, consistent actions that gradually add up. Each step, no matter how small, brings you closer to your objective. Stop waiting for the right moment to take action and to start now. Lastly, Forrest argues that in order to stay effective and successful in the long run, it's essential to prioritize self-care and protect your mental, emotional, and physical energy. Energy is one of the most valuable resources we have, yet it is often taken for granted. Many people push themselves to the limit without realizing that burnout and exhaustion can undermine their ability to perform at their best. It is important to setting limits on how much time and energy we devote to external distractions, such as social media, emails, and unnecessary commitments. Self-care is not a luxury but a necessity. By regularly replenishing our energy through rest, relaxation, and mindful practices, we ensure that we can continue to pursue what truly matters without sacrificing our health or well-being. Taking care of ourselves, Forrest reminds us, is not selfish. It's essential for long-term success and happiness. If you found this video helpful and you're ready to focus on what truly matters in life, hit that like button and subscribe for more powerful insights just like this.